It's your boy Reylo, man. Welcome back to the Biblical Blueprint. Let's get into it. Alright, man. This is the Biblical Blueprint. It's your boy Reylo. We back again. Chapter by chapter, verse by verse. We're going through the Bible. I got to prove to you guys that the Bible is the best resource for anything that you got going on in life and anything that you got going on in business. Right now, we're going through the book of Genesis. We're at chapter 22, and we're talking about Abraham. And we get to one of the most pivotal moments in Abraham's life, where his faith is tested. So let's see what the word got to say about this thing.
Genesis 22, 124 ERV.
Following these events, God chose to put Abraham's faith to the test. He heard God say, "Abraham." "Yes," he replied. "Take your son to the land of Moriah and kill him there as a sacrifice for me," God then commanded.
This had to be Isaac, your beloved only son. On one of the nearby mountains, offer him as a burning sacrifice. I'll identify the mountain for you. Abraham arose in the morning and saddled his donkey. Isaac and 2 servants accompanied him. He prepared the sacrifice by cutting the wood. After then, they followed God's instructions. When Abraham looked up after 3 days of journey, he could make out the destination in the distance.
"Stay here with the donkey," he then ordered his servants. "I'll go there and worship with the boy. After that, we will get back to you."
Abraham placed the wood on his son's shoulder for the sacrifice. Abraham took fire and the unique knife. He then accompanied his son to the place of worship.
"Father," said Isaac to Abraham, his father. And Abraham said, "Yes, son." "I see the fire and the wood," Isaac remarked. "However, where is the lamb that will be sacrificed by burning?"
Abraham said, "My son, the lamb for the sacrifice is being provided by God himself." Thus, Abraham and his son traveled there together.
Abraham constructed an altar when they arrived at the location where God had instructed them to go. He placed the wood on the altar with care. After that, he bound his son Isaac and placed him on top of the wood on the altar. Abraham then grabbed his knife to murder his son. However, he was halted by the Lord's angel.
"Abraham, Abraham!" the angel cried out from heaven. "Yes," Abraham replied. "Don't kill your son or injure him in any way," the angel said. "You do respect and obey God, I can see now. It appears that you are prepared to murder your only son for me."
Abraham then saw a ram with its horns stuck in a thicket. Abraham then proceeded to take the ram. He offered it to God as a sacrifice rather than his kid. Abraham so named that location, "The Lord Provides." The phrase, "on the mountain of the Lord, he will give us what we need," is still used today.
Abraham received a second call from the Lord's angel in heaven. "You were prepared to kill your only son for me," the angel continued.
"Because of what you did for me, I guarantee you that I, the Lord, will bless you and give you as many offspring as the stars in the sky. The population will be equal to the amount of sand on the beach, and the cities your people inhabit will be taken from their adversaries.
Your descendants will bring blessings to every country on the planet. Since you followed my instructions, I will execute this." Abraham then returned to his servants. Abraham remained in Beersheba when the rest of them returned there. Following all of these events, Abraham received a message. The statement read, "Your brother Nahor and his wife Milcah are now parents. Uz is the eldest son. Buz is the second son. Aram's father, Kemuel, is the third son. Next are Jidlaph, Bethuel, Pildash, Hazo, and Kesed. Rebekah's father was Bethuel. The father of these 8 sons was Nahor, and the mother was Milcah. Abraham's brother was named Nahor. Nahor's slave wife, Roimah, also gave birth to 4 other boys. Teba, Gaham, Tahash, and Makkah were the sons." Genesis 22, 124 ERV.
All right. So We already see what's going on with Abraham. God came at him and was like, I need you to sacrifice your son, the one that you love. The real son, not the other one that's out there in the wilderness. We need you to sacrifice the one I promised to you. And man, Abraham was with it. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, he trusted God all throughout what's going on, what was going on with him, with everything that he has been doing. So why not trust God during this situation, right? Even though that's kind of big, you have to sacrifice your son. And man, the angel of the Lord comes and tells him, "Hey, you ain't got to do that, big dog." You know what I'm saying? At the last minute, he had him on the wood, getting ready to light the fire. He had him on the wood, getting ready to hit him with the knife and get rid of the firstborn son, the son that was, promised to him, right? And you know what? It just really shows you in life when you're living this life that we call the way. It ain't easy. You're gonna have to go through some things. People complain like, why would God even test you like that? You know what I'm saying? Like, why do you even have to go through that? And I just want to speak from the theme of faith tested, promises approved. Faith tested, promises approved. Right? If you're never tested, how do we know how solid you are? You think about that. If you're never tested, how do we even know how good you are, what level you are at, if you're never tested? This test that Abram had to go through, 99.9 people will fail. And that's why he's Abraham. Straight up. It is what it is. That's why he is who he is. God is going to put you through some things to see how solid you are and see how you're going to handle the situations that he puts you in. It's going to happen in life. It's going to happen in business. It's going to happen in any situation that you can think of. You're going to be tested by God to see if you're going to stay solid. A lot of people don't stay solid. We don't even have to go too deep into that. We can name off tons of people who don't keep it solid when the chips is down. A lot of people who don't keep it solid when they got all the money and they got everything. There's a lot of people who don't keep it solid, when things is going good. Definitely they ain't keeping it solid when things go bad. This is a man who had everything. This is a man who was promised this son, and all of a sudden he's being told that it's going to be taken away from him. And he went all the way with it. Now, thousands of years ago, let's talk about now, right? I was hit with something similar to that, right? Now, of course, like, God didn't tell me to get rid of my son, right? But God told me to focus on this, what I'm doing right now. Focus on what this is. And, it's life and business coaching. This is why I make this. I focus on this all this year. Now, I have several other skills. I make my own clothes, right? I cook, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually a very, very good cook. I'm actually very, very good with making my clothes, right? And God told me to put it down. Just focus on life coaching. And you know what? That's all I did. And I had to really think to myself, this was the best year ever. Because that's all I did. I didn't do nothing extra. Usually I would do pop-ups, at least like 2 to 3 a month. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do any pop-ups this year. I didn't do any large events as far as cooking is concerned. Even with selling clothes, I would sell clothes at those events. I didn't do anything, y'all. I really focused on life coaching. I went and became a certified life coach. I went and took coaching from other people who are in the same space to really focus on this craft. And that's why I'm making these videos, and that's why I'm hitting you with the consistency I'm hitting you with, because I sacrificed it, right? And when I say that the faith was tested for me and the promises were approved, I had my Isaac moment. I got up to a point where I was like, dang, I ain't going to cook no more. I got up to a point where I was like, dang, I'm not even going to make clothes no more. I'm about to just do this, right? And, for me, I guess my ram in the bush is like something I was supposed to sacrifice, which is really sacrificing most of my vices. You know what I'm saying? Sacrificing those vices to really focus and eliminate time that was taken away from everything. And once I really eliminated the vices, I realized I had way more time on my hand. Once I sacrificed what I was supposed to sacrifice and not having to sacrifice the things that I really love, I realized I had time for all of it. And at this point in time, it's like, of course, I'm hitting you with these videos for life coaching, right? But I'm also making content for cooking. I'm also making content for clothing. And I'm doing it at a level that I'm supposed to do. I'm doing it in alignment, because when it was time to be tested, I went through the test. I did it. I didn't argue about it. I didn't complain about it. I knew that, hey, this is what God wants me to do, and if I'm obedient, I'm going to work it. You have to figure out what you have going on in your life where you're in submission to God, and you're hearing God like, what am I supposed to do? And at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you, it's going to feel crazy. It felt crazy when I told people I was going to be a life coach. People know me as a cook. I'm going to be a life coach. I think out of everybody I told, I think only one person was really supportive. The woman I love wasn't even really supportive. We just can't even talk about what I'm doing. To be honest with you, there was nobody that was supportive of what I was doing. Think what Sarah was saying. They didn't even talk about that in the book. Think of what, Abraham had to say to Sarah. Be ready for the test. If you're ready for your level up and you're ready to have that defining moment where you become that person, be ready for the test and be ready to just go through what God has to tell you. I understand it might seem it's going to seem crazy. I'm telling you, it's going to seem crazy. And don't even go into it like, oh, I'm just going to do this, I'm going to do that. No. Go into it. And it's just going to be just like I told you. I had my little ram that was in the bush where you just noticed it, and that's what you were supposed to sacrifice. If you just submit and go with obedience, you will see what you're supposed to sacrifice. You can do this. I did it, and I'm going to keep going regardless. I'm telling you, it seemed crazy when you had to sacrifice it, but it's worth it. I feel so much better because this has been a year-long process that I've gone through. Abraham, I don't know how long that process was. It's probably just one day, and that was probably the most stressful day ever. But you see that he was with it. It is what it is. I'm telling you, you're gonna get so far where you're gonna be like, dang, it's time to go through with it, and you will see your ram in the bush, that thing. And because just like I said, like I had my promises approved. I'm finally in a space where creatively, you can't tell me what to create and what not to create. I told somebody literally this Saturday at a nice little party, I told them, I was like, I'm finally doing what I want to do. I'm not doing anything right now that I don't want to do. Of course, not everything. We ain't completely perfect yet. I'm not gonna lie to you, but we will be completely perfect because I'm moving in the right direction. If that makes sense. Move in the right direction. Be ready for the test, because the grade that you get during the test is going to define what type of person you are. Faith tested, promises approved.